After rewatching my video, I realized I totally forgot to talk about Jalen Hurts' knee. So Jalen Hurts' knee, he had on a small brace in practice, but he wasn't on an injury report, so that's a good sign. Maybe he's just getting used to playing with a brace because maybe he's going to need one for the next couple games. But good thing is he's still not on the injury report. Hope you guys enjoy this video. This is Eagle Owl, and today I want to talk about Josh Sweat. And Josh Sweat is super underrated. Also, we seen Jalen Hurts in practice today, but he did have on a small knee brace. And lastly, want to talk about how we not being done. And Kenny Moore the third might be on our radar, but let's get straight into it. All right, so I couldn't make another video without talking about Josh Sweat. I just simply could not do it because he's been so impactful. I believe like 2 forced fumbles, 5.5 sacks, 14 solo tackles, if I'm not mistaken. But this is his numbers compared to Micah Parsons. You know, we keep comparing Micah Parsons to Hassan Reddick, but is Josh Sweat on that level of the Hassan Reddits and the Micah Parsons? But again, let's compare the numbers. Micah Parsons versus Josh Sweat. 20 tackles for Micah Parsons, 19 for Josh Sweat. 37 pressures for Micah Parsons, 31 for Josh Sweat. 11 QB hits for Micah Parsons, 14 QB hits for Josh Sweat. 6 sacks, or it's really 5.5, but I guess they round up. 6 sacks for Josh Sweat and 5 for Micah Parsons. 2 forced fumbles for Josh Sweat and 1 forced fumble for Micah Parsons. Those numbers are very similar. And again, Josh Sweat don't get mentioned in those top 10s for whatever reason. He's at least a top 10 edge rusher in this league. It's just that when you got JC, when you got Jordan Davis, or even Hassan Reddick, sometimes they could suck the air out the room and people forget about Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat quietly is having a very, very good year. Because you got to remember, when Hassan Reddick was nursing his thumb or whatever, Josh Sweat was picking up the slack. He was picking up the slack. So I wanted to show Josh Sweat some love because he should be up there with those guys. Now, I'm not saying he's a Myles Garrett, no, but he's been playing out of his mind. And you know how we talk about AJ Brown and Smitty being 1A, 1B a lot? Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat is a 1A, 1B. They are really, really good, man. Josh Sweat definitely deserve to have more snaps. I hate when I see Derek Barnett take snaps from Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith. I simply don't get it. I know last game I was kind of clowning him a bit, Derek Barnett, but he did make some plays here and there, especially stopping the run. But all in all, I just believe Nolan Smith is better than him, and Josh Sweat is better than Derek Barnett. But again, Josh Sweat should be mentioned in those top 10s. Or when you go down your list, you can't forget about Josh Sweat. You just simply cannot. He deserves it, man. He deserves it. And for him basically coming in, had to play backup to Derek Barnett, political reasons. First round pick, well, Josh Sweat like a 3rd or 4th round pick. You know how that go. But Josh Sweat fought for his spot and been elite ever since. Okay. All right, so let's get into the next topic. Let's talk about the injury report a bit. There were some interesting names on there, you know. Bradley Roby, we know he's probably not going to play the next game, but there were some new names. James Bradbury, Zach Cunningham, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, and Reed Blankenship is on here, but he's a full participant, and the other 4 I named are limited. The Jordan Davis thing scares me a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if they sit him out because it is a hamstring and you want him ready against Dallas. And our line is deep. Like, our line still made an impact without Jalen Carter. So I believe our line can still make an impact without Jordan Davis because we're so deep on the D line. I believe we'll be okay if he has to sit out a game, in my opinion. But Yeah, man. If Jordan Davis again need to rest up, let him rest up. I am worried about James Bradbury as well. James Bradbury, he's been getting a lot of flack at the last game, but Tyreek Hill is a difference maker. Tyreek Hill is a different guy. So I'm not understanding why James Bradbury is taking so much heat. And then that was Terrell Edmonds' assignment. So I like James Bradbury. A lot of people ready to throw him away, but I don't know. I believe he's still solid. But speaking of cornerbacks, and I kept hearing this thing, how he's not done, how he's not done. And I seen a Surtain thing. I seen the Patrick Surtain thing, like us offering like 2 first-round picks and like a third round or fourth round to get Patrick Surtain. Something ridiculous. I didn't really report on it because, A, I don't think Howie Roseman would give up that much capital to even get Patrick Surtain, in my opinion. And B, I don't think the Broncos want to give up their young talent. Yeah, they're in the rebuild mode, but to give up your young talent, you're just giving up on the franchise, If you're rebuilding, you want to keep center pieces like a Patrick Surtain, then you get other guys. Now, say if we didn't get Kevin Byard and there was like something with Justin Simmons, Justin Simmons or something like that. Yeah, that sounds more believable because Justin Simmons, even though he plays at a high level, he's considered an older player. So that would make sense. But the Patrick Surtain thing to me just simply didn't make sense for something for me to report on. But this definitely does. There's a rumor out there that the Eagles really like Kenny Moore the second. I believe I said the third, but he's the second. So Howard Roseman been very active on the phones and continues to look all over the league. It is unknown if Moore is available at this time. That's according to ML Football. Now, this one sound more believable. The Eagles and Colts got a relationship. We traded Carson Wentz there. Not only that, we locked in with Shane Steichen. And, Shane Steichen could give us the scoop of what's going on because Anthony Richardson is hurt. They third place in their division. They offense look like it got potential, but how far can you go with Gardner Minshew? Let's be honest. It's not going to really take you too far. So maybe they look to get picks and get younger. And I would like Kenny Moore to come in, especially if this James Bradbury thing lingers a bit and he has to miss a game or two. I would like Kenny Moore here, even though I trust Eli Ricks. Like, if it comes down to it, I trust Eli Ricks on the outside. But Kenny Moore is really, really good. He's a good outside, but he's also a good slot. Also, if we trade for him, that lets you know how serious Bradley Roby's shoulder injury probably is. That means that we're in the market for a slot corner. Even though Ricks is really good, I believe he should be reserved for the outside, just in case like a Bradbury or Slay get hurt. You want that depth piece because the rest of the guys like Josh Jobe need development. Byard, he can play the inside, but he's a safety. Even Sidney Brown, maybe they transition him to the nickel or like a slot corner, but he's technically a safety. So getting Kenny Moore, he would definitely help. So that one sound more believable to me than the other stuff I've been hearing. And also, again, it depends on what the Colts want now. Like the Colts, we can possibly give them like a fifth or something like that and be okay. But the Patrick Surtain thing to me, it was just too out of this world for me to report on. I'm sorry. I seen, the other content creators do it and salute to them, but that one sound crazy. And trust me, I'm the guy that report on all the rumors. That one I just couldn't do. I couldn't do it, man. Because again, Howie Roseman is the fleece man. He's not getting fleeced or giving up a bunch of first round picks for a guy. I don't care who it is. So I believe this rumor is something to it, even though it's coming from ML Football. Or I won't be surprised if we're in the market for like a running back. I don't think the splash play will be as big as a Byard, but I can see it being like a Moore. Even though a Kenny Moore will be like a somewhat of a splash play, but not as big as the Kevin Byard. But speaking of Kevin Byard, I'm going a little over time, just a little bit. Kevin Byard was spotted at practice today, looking good. Reed Blankenship, some clips here, looking good. So yeah, this is the first look at Kevin Byard in the Eagles uniform, and I can't wait to see him play. I believe he plays Sunday. There's no way he's not playing Sunday. You give him a whole week to learn the playbook. He's been around for a while, so there's probably nothing he didn't see. And I believe he's going to pick up and do very, very well, or at least put him in on some limited snaps. It might be Sidney Brown and Reed Blankenship on the field most of the time, at least probably against the Commanders. Maybe. That's a huge maybe. But if Kevin Byard got it down pat, he's going to play majority of the game. He is. So shout out to Kevin Byard, man. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe it. But hey, man, what do you think and how do you feel about the news today? Jordan Davis, how we feeling? Should we let him sit if it's serious or even something minor? Get him ready for Dallas. Also, the knee brace of Jalen Hurts, the James Bradbury, the Kenny Moore, Josh Sweat. How we feeling? But this is Evil Al. I'm